Okay, everyone. So now it's 5 minutes after 5:30. I think it's time to start because the other ones will wait otherwise. So a very warm welcome to our expert talk here in Luxembourg. Attractive second home markets in difficult times. I think especially today we got some not so good news all over Europe, and it's time to speak about it. But on the other hand side, our starting picture shows how beautiful islands like Mallorca are. And everyone knows by himself after the hard times in the last months that this would be the most loveliest place to stay now. So my name is Philipp Niemann. I'm the managing director of Engel Völkers Luxembourg and your host today. But for me especially, it is an honor to welcome our two guests today. On the one hand side, we have Hans Lenz with us, Managing Director, Engel Völkers Mallorca Southwest, and Caroline Debatty from the affiliate real estate consultant from Engel Völkers Paseo Maritimo on this lovely island, Mallorca. So both of you, a very warm welcome at first. It's a pleasure to have you with us. The beautiful picture we have seen just one slide or two slides before is a place where you are able to work day to day. So I think there can't be a much nicer job in the world than being at this place, especially in times like now where we have to stay at home. So being in such a nice home with that view must be the best possibility or the best option in Corona time. So Hans, it's a pleasure to have you with us. I will stop my presentation and I would like to start first with some questions. So the first would be, what about the general atmosphere on the island in this moment after all the news of the last days?
So thank you very much, Philip. Hello to everybody in Luxembourg, to our team and to the friends that have connected today. The feeling on the island has been a roller coaster through this year, like many other places across Europe and across the planet. But there is a general feeling that, you know, our island is a very special place, and we've had this confirmed over numerous occasions in the last months. So we're in a turning point. Very shortly, there's also some changes to do in the economic model, which is very dependent on tourism, especially on mass tourism. But as always, it's opening new opportunities, fascinating insights, and also getting a new group of people onto the island, which we had not seen before. So it's been an enormous journey. We're not done. We're surprised to see that business continues, and in some areas even stronger than ever, despite the fact that there is difficulty with flights. And I would say that we have a very complex winter on the economic front on the Balearic Islands. However, the real estate market, especially the second home market, where Engel Völkers is very active, has had very few changes. We continue to move on and actually nowadays become an important pillar within the economy, with continuing building sites, with sales still happening, and with the persons that decided to proceed with a purchase sticking to their commitments. And that's a very fascinating experience to have, taking into account the global economic situation.
That's a really interesting aspect, because today we had a press meeting where we talked with some journalists about it. And I always said, you know, it's hard and tough for many people, for sure, or for all of us. All the restrictions, the up and downs, March, April, May in lockdown, especially Spain hit very hard, but also Western Europe hit very hard. Now in Germany, we got the news, there's a soft lockdown from Sunday on. So especially this up and down, I think, is not easy for every one of us. But I see also a chance in that. And what you just said for me is really interesting, that you just mentioned Mallorca was a mass touristic destination. And now there are many people very open-minded in changing the concept to another one. But what could be an option? So what do you think, where will the island be developed to?
It's, of course, a big question that we're going to have a couple of weeks and months to discuss about this winter. An economic model that has been grown for many years, let's say for about 40 years, doesn't change overnight. However, always the difference in demand from a clientele will shape the offer. It's not anywhere different on the touristic front. we're seeing that the experiences that people are searching for are much more connected to open spaces, nature, a more natural surrounding, where the Balearic Islands have an excellent position on nature and the facilities available at the same time. So we think that there will be a much stronger desire for old buildings which have been restored, which maybe offer a different nature-connected kind of living. And we have seen this on the real estate front. Most definitely, there's been a movement into the countryside, also in Mallorca. And this has made certain areas within the center and southeast and north of the island have a wonderful year.
That's a great issue, because we now start speaking about real estate. What about the real estate market in general on the island? Because people like me here in Luxembourg, I mean, we know that there are not that many flights anymore. Everyone now covers or checking the home pages. Am I able to travel to Spain or to another place? So what influences do you see to the markets, and where did the market come from, and where do you see the future?
Are you seeing my screen right now? Because I'm trying to share something, Philip. Is it on?
Not yet. It is black. It says that you share it. So
okay.
We are on the way.
We'll try again. Let's see. It's only been a few months practicing with Zoom. Okay, just give me a second. I want to give you an overall view on what's been going on the market over the past years. Also, what has been the latest development. You will be getting figures which have not yet been publicized. I was actually on the phone right now before we started talking. And so I would say, let me just try to share this with you. I think you should be seeing my
now we can see it.
Yeah,
yes.
Perfect. There we go. Okay. So Engel and Völkers has been on Mallorca for 30 years. We have an aggregated market presence, which is well over 30% of the real estate market on the Balearic Islands, with 18 offices and a wonderful team of 150 people, which give us a very big insight onto the market in all areas of Mallorca. You will see on the map where we are positioned, and you will see in the right-hand side the Mallorca Southwest office locations, where actually Caroline, who's joined us today, and I are working with a team of roughly 70 persons. So I would call this one the mother of all graphs. It's the total transaction volume in the Balearic Islands, according to the official records, which we have been following very closely, with a sharp distinction between the local market, which would be first-hand homes purchased by people who have a permanent residence in the Balearic Islands, which we show gray in the graph, and the international purchaser market, which we see red in the graph. So going back 10 years, we see a gigantic difference in the overall market volume from 2009 to 2019. We could say that the market has grown in its transaction volume by double. It's gone from 2 billion to a pretty stable 4 billion euros spent in real estate purchases in the Balearic Islands over the period from 2017 to 2019. You see that there's a small dip, but really when we, of course, looking back onto figures from 2019, we're not very nervous about this slight cooling off from 2017 to 2019. And what we always consider very interesting to look at is the share of the international purchaser within the market in the Balearic Islands. If we look at the overall numbers, Europe has a population of just about over 700 million people. The Balearic Islands have a permanent population of 1 million persons. And there are many people across Europe, and we find out that there are even more people growing markets like Luxembourg interested in a purchase in Mallorca and the Balearic Islands, which have increased the share of the international purchaser from about 20% to even 40% of the market, with a slight cooling off again from 2017, 2019. So where do we think figures will be this year? This 2020 will be the most complex year to analyze ever, because the split between the local and the international market will become even bigger. I explain why. The local market is a tourism-dependent economy with a complete lockdown of tourism facilities and hotels, which really didn't have a fair chance at all this year. And of course, the consumer confidence in this, in order to buy a property, is going to be at an all-time low. Added to this, unfortunately, and this is one of the things which, we're doing everything we can to help the local economy. There are a big amount of people from the tourism sector who are now waiting to start up their jobs again, or who have lost their jobs. On the other hand, we've had a sharp increase from the international purchasers, and we're confident that the share, which we see here, is going to go even more into the red section in 2020. So we think that if we follow the pattern from then until now, we're going to be looking at a year where the average purchase price is actually going to go up. We've seen that the average purchase price, according to the official records of 2020 second quarter compared to the year before, 2019 second quarter, went up by 70%, which is a phenomenal number. But of course, what has happened is that the purchases that have taken place are all, very many of them, in the upper end of the market. So less transactions, higher prices, and higher average purchase price. So the real concern, let's say, is not so much for the type of business that Engel and Völkers has. We're doing quite well. We're getting phenomenal interest. It's really good. We have our focus posted on the local market, and we will see what we can do there to contribute as a very connected brand that feels that they have a responsibility as well in their role here to help the local market to get out of the dip.
So that means you don't see a connection between this mass touristic market and the real estate market, because in the real estate market, I can imagine, because I was on Mallorca many times, so you're very happy, like this summer, when there are not so many mass tourists. So when you have a second home there and you come to the airport and the airport is empty, I mean, that's positive from that perspective. So this is something you mentioned in the very beginning, right? So the change from this mass market to a more high-end touristic, but also second home market.
We had a moment when we came out of this very strong lockdown that Spain had between middle of March and the end of May, into rediscovering Mallorca ourselves, which was a fascinating moment when we were suddenly on our own and seeing things that we had maybe not seen because we were very busy, or there were many people around. So this has been an experience by many, which then returned when the flights really started operating in July. So yes, there is on the one side what you're saying, Philip, totally right, an ease to walk through town. On the other hand, it is sometimes a little bit spooky when you see so many restaurants and shops closed. So we'll be very happy when we get tourism back. I think that the island maybe had been slightly overcrowded over the last 6 years. So it's pretty good to have a relief on this end. And the phenomenon for us was, how come with 77% less passengers at the airport, you have to think about this number, 77%, an airport that usually carries 28 million seats in 1 year, we still have a performance level of Engel and Völkers which is almost the same as the year before. So that flight is not the worry, and we see that people really want to have a house here and they want to spend time here. And they actually said, look, if I'm going to get locked in, it's going to be Mallorca.
And I mean, still, there's one positive aspect, and that's the distance from Europe from the western part of Europe to the Balearics. And secondly, the infrastructure, like you just said. So everywhere in the south region of Europe, you have less flights, on the same level less. So on Mallorca, you still have a lot of opportunities from from Luxembourg, from Spain, from Germany, from Austria, wherever you are, to join the island? Because that was one of the main benefits, what I heard, or what we heard from our client, that they said, okay, Mallorca is a great destination because we can fly in and out every day. Because there are so many flights. And I mean, now we have a level, like you just said, 70% less, but still there are more flights to and back to the island than before, because everywhere in the south of Europe, the flights go down, the number of flights go down.
Totally. So this is what you are usually looking at when you own a property in Mallorca and you want to come to the island. It's a hyper-connected destination with a flight distance, I think, to Luxembourg is just lower than 2 hours, with very good daily flight connections and with really massive flight connections to Switzerland, Germany, and to the Scandinavian countries. One interesting thing that's happening right now as we speak, which I find very curious, because of the relaxation within the policies of COVID in Sweden, actually the island right now feels very Swedish and Mallorquin. For the first time ever, the Swedish and the Mallorquin are being left alone by everybody else, and we're having a pretty good time.
That sounds really interesting. Just for our clients who are in the call, when you have any questions, you can type them into the chat. You find the chat below on your desktop. So please write your question in the chat and we will give an answer to the questions later on. But Hans, I have 1-2 questions more. What would you say is the big difference between the Balearics at the moment and the Spanish mainland? I mean, we hear about Madrid, we hear about Barcelona, the metropolitan cities, but what the differences between the second home markets on the mainland and the Balearics?
Yeah, I thought that the easiest way to answer this is with this slide, which basically summarizes what you find in a space 50 kilometers long and 40 kilometers wide. It's not too big, it's not too small, and it has everything that's here. And if you put this together, condensated on an area which has the city, but it's still rural, has the beaches, has the mountains, has a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and offers everything from gastronomy to schools to hospitals. Of course, very interesting now. People start thinking about health and so on. We have managed wonderful health conditions here during all phases. This summarizes a huge difference between what you would find on a larger, more dispersed area, which is maybe mainland Spain, or Mallorca, which has been built around quality, leisure, and top-end offer. So as you can see, there's a bit for everyone here. And the nice thing also, it's all year round. People are coming in the winter for hiking, others come in the summer for all of the nautical sports. Others decide to live here with the international schools, which are available, 15, it's a pretty big number. And of course, we're looking at an amount of population with, in Mallorca, 900,000, on the islands, 1.1 million, where you kind of already make connections very quickly. It's easy with the international group of people who are here to have a very, very interesting cosmopolitan network of persons on the island, which many of them are now actually moving in order to live. And that's one of the big differences we've had. People are now coming here to live and to stay, not only for a holiday home.
That's definitely an argument for the Balearics. Another question I have, let's come back a little bit to the Corona situation. We spoke a lot about it, but I think especially our clients who are with us here are interested in your recommendation. So what would you recommend to do now? So, I mean, we are all coming here to the winter times. It's getting dark, rainy and cold. Everyone starts dreaming of a second home in the south of Europe. So if you have a look to the Corona situation, but in general, what you mentioned in the very beginning, how the market, how the economy develops, what the ideas are, what would you recommend? Buying now because the prices are stable, buying next summer because then we know better how Corona will influence our future life, or what would be your recommendation?
A big decision like moving somewhere to live or to buy a second home needs to find a natural connection between your brain, heart, and stomach. Once they are aligned, then you're doing the right thing. So it's a very careful decision that needs to be taken. It's always important to get the right expertise, to have the local knowledge, and to research the market very well. So hasty decisions in real estate are normally not good decisions. One needs to be sure what they do. There is the possibility of renting a property for the time being, to understand the area, to know the market. We really felt a strong demand on high-end rental properties with prices from 10 to 20,000 euros, which were basically emptied from the market in 2 months. These are all potential purchasers, but they want to set foot and they want to live here. So the recommendation is study the market, speak with the right people, learn it, and take your decisions carefully. And regarding prices, we're a small island, and I've spent over 40 years here. The prices don't go down. In the right location with the right quality, the prices remain either stable or they go up as soon as the conditions are right again. So that's not an issue.
Okay, thank you very much. I think this was a lot of discussion about the market, the current situation. Now it's time to come to the lovely side of your business, and you have your nice colleague with you, Caroline. Caroline, can you show us a little bit of what Hans and me just discussed? Can you give us a little insight of your properties in the market so that our clients get a better overview what is possible on the island? So what kind of properties are available and for sale, and tell us a little bit about some stories about the properties and how you would describe the situation from your perspective.
Thank you, Philippe. As we agreed together, I will now continue in French.
Very good.
Bonjour à tous. Comme Philippe l'a mentionné, Mallorca est en effet une très belle île avec un vaste choix de propriétés. Donc, nous offrons actuellement en vente chez Engel et Völkers pas moins de 2600 propriétés sur l'entièreté de l'île, dont 1000 sont situées dans la partie du sud-ouest. Je vais vous présenter aujourd'hui 3 propriétés qui sont situées dans la partie du sud-ouest, toutes entre 5 et 20 minutes de distance en voiture du centre de Palma. Je vais partager avec vous mon écran et on va pouvoir voir chaque propriété en détail. Voilà, donc la première propriété s'agit d'un projet qui est actuellement en construction et qui est situé à Cala Mayor. Donc Cala Mayor est un quartier résidentiel à seulement 5 minutes du centre-ville de Palma. Ce projet consiste en 37 appartements qui sont répartis dans 2 buildings. Donc, comme on le voit sur cette photo, on a un building au-dessus et un building en contrebas qui vont partager une piscine communautaire à débordement avec terrasse solarium et une vue imprenable sur la mer. Donc, les appartements qui sont situés au rez-de-chaussée plus les penthouses auront une piscine privée. Un garage est inclus dans le prix de chaque appartement. Donc, ici, c'est vraiment un projet très varié parce que les prix varient de 295 000 € pour les plus petits appartements qui ont une surface d'à peu près 50 mètres carrés jusqu'à de grandes résidences de 4 chambres qui vont à un prix jusqu'au maximum 2 300 000 €. Nous allons voir quelques photos de l'intérieur. Voilà, donc les appartements ont un équipement de haute qualité comprenant une cuisine ouverte avec des placards intégrés, chauffage au sol, climatisation, parquet en chêne dans l'espace de vie et pierre naturelle dans les salles de bain. Donc, nous allons passer à la deuxième propriété que nous allons voir aujourd'hui. Donc, cette propriété s'agit d'une superbe villa située en front de mer. Cette villa fait partie d'un développement unique qui a été terminé en 2018 et qui est composé de 9 villas de luxe situées dans l'une des zones les plus prisées de l'île. Donc là, on va vers une autre gamme de prix. Comme on peut le voir, cette villa est en vente pour un prix de 13 950 000 euros. Pour ce développement, l'équipe de vente d'Engel et Völkers a été chargée de la commercialisation de toutes les unités depuis le début de la construction. Et nous avons d'ailleurs vendu la dernière villa disponible directement du promoteur au mois de juillet. Donc cette villa que je vous montre ici est en fait une revente d'un des propriétaires qui souhaite faire l'achat d'une villa encore plus grande, bien que celle-ci ait quand même une surface de plus de 1000 m² avec 6 chambres et 6 salles de bain. Donc l'espace extérieur offre un beau jardin méditerranéen avec une grande terrasse avec cuisine extérieure. Nous avons une grande piscine de plus de 16 mètres de long. Et dans le cas où vous trouvez la piscine trop petite, vous pouvez directement aller dans la mer via un accès côtier. Donc nous avons un grand salon avec cuisine ouverte, une salle de télévision. Depuis toutes les pièces de la maison, on a une vue imprenable sur la mer. Également une salle de sport avec sauna, une cave à vin, ascenseur, garage, etc. Donc, ce qui est vraiment unique pour ce développement, c'est que le complexe de villas offre également aux propriétaires un service de conciergerie 6 jours sur 7 et un service de sécurité 24 heures sur 24. Pour cette villa, nous avons fait un tour virtuel en 3D que je vais vous montrer de suite. Donc, on s'est vraiment concentré sur ce type d'outils en période de confinement, car ceci vous permet de visiter la maison vraiment depuis chez vous. Donc ici, on voit bien l'accès à la mer, la cuisine extérieure, et je vais vous montrer brièvement l'intérieur de la maison. Bien sûr, je peux vous renvoyer ce lien par après pour que vous puissiez regarder à votre aise. Ah, ok. Donc, on va rentrer. Voilà, je vous fais juste un petit aperçu. Voilà. Ensuite, la troisième propriété qu'on va voir aujourd'hui est tout à fait un autre style. Donc, cela prouve que nous n'avons pas seulement des villas de design très moderne, mais également des authentiques maisons de campagne qu'on appelle ici finca. Donc, cette maison de campagne est faite en pierre naturelle de Majorque et est située sur un terrain très privé de plus de 15 000 m². Cette villa est en vente à un prix de 4,5 millions. Donc, le terrain offre beaucoup d'intimité et une belle vue sur les vallées jusqu'aux montagnes. La maison a été complètement rénovée en 2017. Donc ici, on a le salon avec la cheminée. C'est un espace très lumineux. une cuisine ouverte, plusieurs terrasses spacieuses couvertes et découvertes. Donc ici, nous avons un total de 5 chambres et 4 salles de bain. La maison est située dans une zone appelée Sol de Mallorca, qui est à 20 minutes en voiture de Palma. Et vous êtes en même temps à 5 minutes de plusieurs ports, comme par exemple le port de Portals et le port Adriano, et également de plusieurs champs de golf. Car comme on l'a vu avant avec Hans, nous avons beaucoup de golf sur l'île, qui est un sport très, très connu ici, avec 23 champs de golf sur l'île. Voilà. Donc, si vous avez une quelconque question sur une des propriétés, je serais ravie d'y répondre. Et évidemment, c'était juste un exemple parce qu'on a vraiment toutes sortes de biens et à toutes sortes de prix sur l'île.
Yeah, thank you very much, Caroline. That was impressive to see. I mean, beautiful villas, beautiful apartments, sea view, not sea view, so a wide range. One question I have, do you see a change, or have you seen a change in the last years in the request of the clients? So is there a change, like more people want to have a sea view, more people now getting to the countryside, or that there's an ecological aspect that people say, hey, an own energy house, so electrician by coming from the sun, solar panels, etc. Do you see changes in the requests?
So I would say that we really have all kind of requests. There is clients, they only want sea view, clients that want finca, like I showed the last property just now. They really like this traditional Mallorcan style with stone, big plot, privacy. So there is really all kind of requests. Also, many clients like to be in the center of Palma, in the old town. So yeah, it's really a mix of.
Okay. Great, thank you very much, Caroline. Now we come to the end and the most important question to you. What is your little hidden secret place on Mallorca? I mean, it's just you and me here in the call, so you can tell us what is your most loveliest place on the island, personally.
Ladies first, I guess.
Yes,
Caroline.
ladies first.
Well, personally, what I really like is the countryside. So actually, I'm really lucky to live by the sea. And that's true that we really get used to everything because, of course, I enjoy the beautiful view, but we really get used to everything. So what I really like is going hiking and in the countryside because there you really have peace and tranquility.
Okay. Great, thank you very much, Caroline. Hans, there is a question came in here by email. I don't know why, but I got it by email. So the question was, or the question is, I mean, you see the number of requests over the years. You explained that the number of sales, that there's a change between the Balearic people and the second home buyers. In the number of requests, what do you see at the moment in times of Corona, or let's say the whole year? You just said in a sentence that, yeah, the requests are on the same level, but do you really see that there's the same amount of people interested in buying on the island at the moment?
It's been fascinating to see the number of requests and the behavior of clients. We started a lockdown before other areas in Europe, which followed, and we immediately contacted with our clients, which are of course buyers and sellers at the same time, to give them comfort that we're okay, that everybody's safe, that the food is arriving, that the hospitals are not overloaded, and that there is an overall feeling of safety and comfort here. And we had some fabulous conversations during the months of March and April. We had, of course, very few requests at that moment, but we decided to go into technology in order to get people into homes without having to leave their living room or without having to take a plane. So this has made a massive difference in the way that we operate. Even nowadays, our advisors are going on live video visits into the property with the clients on the other side and explaining everything, or are filming Matterport tours, which can become a very interesting way of a virtual reality visit into the property. So the requests have been going up and down. As soon as the lock-in happened in Europe, they went down. As soon as people knew they could travel again, they went up. They were very high during the summer. They went down very quickly again as soon as Boris Johnson shut down the UK. And they went down even further when Germany decided to lock down. And now it's a very similar level to other years because now we've reached a new stability. So these are very similar. And what's interesting is that the quality of the conversations that we're having with clients and the quality of the few people who are here is enormous. People are really well read. This is not let's go to Mallorca and take a bus ride and then look at a couple of properties. No, the people who are talking to us now really mean it, and that's of course very much fun compared to having so many persons where you're wondering how serious are they about their decision. So we'll continue watching what's going on. And yeah, I think also in this moment for us to pass a message of comfort to the people across Europe that we will get through this pandemic. People are, quite safe, quite all right. The numbers are what they are, but we'll get through it. And when we get out, we'll be much stronger than before.
That are the best last words I can imagine. But Hans, there's one problem. There's one question left. You gave an answer to it, but I just have to ask you again, because there was one client asking, Caroline presented one property with this 3D technique. Is this what you just mentioned? So you offer digital viewings?
Yes. Yes.
How do you do that? So I can get in contact with you and choose 1, 2, 3 properties I'm interested in, and then you drive by, or how do you do that?
Very much so. So what we call the live video visit would be an appointment with Caroline, for example, on a certain day. Caroline will have walked the client through the property before we actually go physically. So we make a location analysis. We check what the real demands are, what's on the market, and then they will meet via Zoom, via Google Hangouts, via whatever technology the client chooses, and they will be going through the property as if they were together.
Cool.
That's one option. The other option is that we create Matterport films, which allow you to, on your screen, move through the property without Caroline having to be there. And this gives you a very deep insight into what's there. So we're putting all of these technologies together right now with an additional technology for off-plan sales, which is on a film studio set where the property is projected onto a wall and you are talking together with your advisor in Mallorca and you in Luxembourg and maybe a family member in Switzerland. And you are looking at this off-plan product projected in a 3D virtual presentation, but with a real person standing inside that is talking to you just like you and I are now, Philip. So that's a pretty amazing one that's working really well, and I hope I can show you soon.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds really interesting, and it's great to see that Corona has also a positive impact, that we are getting more digital. But one question between colleagues: did one of your buyers or clients bought a property only digitally?
Yes.
Wow.
Not only one. We have sold just after the lockdown a total of 4 properties digitally. I must say that the people who were purchasing were very knowledgeable about the market, and they basically understood the street where they are in. We took them there. They had Google Maps. They really understood everything. And yes, they bought, and of course, some has sold digitally.
Great. Yeah, so there's also the chance to buy something in times of Corona with no planes and lockdowns.
Yes.
Great, Caroline. Hans, thank you very much. This was a really, really interesting discussion. If we summarize this, Mallorca stays one of the most beautiful islands in the Balearic area. Very attractive on the real estate side, especially also from an investment perspective, because Hans, you just said the prices will stay stable. So there will be no drop down because of Corona. The market could change. There are big discussions economically wise from mass touristic to a little bit more high-end touristic. Let's see what will happen. But I'm pretty sure that with your infrastructure you have, this infrastructure will not leave in the next months or years. So with this infrastructure, the island will keep very attractive. For all our clients, if you need a contact, it's very easy. You find the contacts of Hans and Caroline later on in our presentation, and you are also able to get in contact with both of them directly by the homepage or by email. I will show the email addresses later on again, and we will send by newsletter the video and a podcast of this expert talk today to all of you, so you have the chance also to send it to friends and family to convince them to come to Mallorca. So both of you, a very big thank you. Best regards to the island. Enjoy a little bit warm weather, warmer than here in Luxembourg, and a little bit nicer, hopefully a little bit more sun than we have. And yeah, hope to see both of you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Philip. Thank you very much to everyone on the screen. Buenas noches.
Bye bye. Buenas noches.